You know, it's amazing what plummeting popularity can do to a girl's mindset. Absolutely. You know, when you think about it, this particular image was the defining image from that Harry and Meghan docuseries on Netflix, the one where she was so disrespectful regarding, of course, our late monarch and exactly how she first presented herself to a monarch who'd reigned undisputed for 70 years. But apparently Meghan found this frightfully funny and, of course, decided to, well, do an embellished mock curtsy, which, of course, we know, once again, like Meghan's many stories, is a tissue of lies. I pointed out on many occasions that Prince Harry, deep down, really was angry. You could see it, but clearly he didn't have the spine to deal with his wife. Now what's happened is this, and it's not really playing out incredibly well. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. We'll have a lovely wave. How are you? Thank you so much for your time. By the way, a lot of people ask me, Neil, did you ever meet the former president of the United States, Jimmy Carter? I did. In fact, I produced an event for him a couple of years back now, maybe 5 years ago. Things go so quickly, don't they? He came over to London and he was doing a big interview and we sat down for a chat and all that sort of stuff. And I co-produced it along with the channel that it was. And he was a wonderful man, let me tell you. Very funny, very warm, very down to earth. I often think, you know, with these people that have had so much power, and I don't mean that in a, you know, nasty way, but he's been at the epicenter of power, you know, then it's difficult, isn't it, for them when they come out of office, you know, like whether it's be our former British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. There you are, talked about every day, front pages, everything you say is dissected, and suddenly you step away and you have to somehow make it work for you. And I think that was the problem with our late and brilliant former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. You know, after 3 terms in office, she struggled to sort of control her normal life. Jimmy Carter was a totally different man. Can't say, he's just a nice guy. And that's the thing, isn't it, when you meet these people? You wonder what they're going to be like. He thanked everybody in the crew. And in the end, it just ended up being me and him on the empty set just having a cup of tea because he said, you know what, Neil, you make the best cup of tea. Wasn't that a nice thing? Not many people can say they made a cup of tea for the President of the United States, can they? Lovely. Let's get back to your royal story of the day. As I say, this was very, very disheartening. And what was fascinating about this particular thing is that, according to the source, Liz Garbus, you know, she did have the opportunity, Meghan, to take this out of the final edit because apparently this had some warning signs, flags, people thinking this doesn't look particularly good. According to that source, Meghan Markle wanted to keep it in because she felt that this showed off her humour, her sense of fun, the fact that her and the Queen were almost best buddies at this point, you know, so she could have a lot of fun with her. Yes, how times change. Now here's again where it gets even more interesting because now Meghan, I've been told from an excellent source, is looking to see if there are any reputable documentaries currently being made where she could gush eloquently about our former monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. And she's particularly looking at anything from the BBC. This is simply because of this. She realises that that particular episode, that one thing, really turned off, and correct me if I'm wrong, America, but thousands, possibly millions of Americans who were absolutely appalled at her total disrespect for our late monarch. Now, Meghan believes, and her team, that if she was, you know, to be interviewed and gave a little bit of insight into what it was like literally meeting such an esteemed lady, well, this could swing things around. As I've said to you many times before, Meghan, dearie, it's too late, love. You know, you decided to not include her on your Forces of Change Vogue cover, even though that was, well, would you like to do it? No, she didn't need the Queen on that. She was focusing on these people, far more prevalent, actresses you've never heard of, and Jane Fonda, who she'd never met. You get the picture. So if Meghan or her team think that by appearing on a documentary and her gushing for an inordinate amount of time and basically saying, well, yes, you know, she was marvellous, will that change your perception of her and the way that she treated the monarch? I'd love to know. Neil Sean in the very heart of Kensington.